Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of In Between Rounds. I am going to continue on the topic of mobility. So today we are going through a head-to-toe CARS routine. And I know a few of you have already heard the term CARS before. So CARS stands for Controlled Articular Rotations. So basically we're going to rotate through all of our joints. We're going to be very mindful about our body position. We're going to keep things engaged. We're going to push our range of motion. And therefore that's going to help improve our mobility and our connection to these muscles, and therefore will relate into better strength training as we can improve our technique and know exactly where our body is going to be in space. So mobility is our ability. Mobility is our ability to control our movement through a range of motion. All right, so very much that's where the C comes in. Control. So nothing is going to be ballistic. We're going to move with control and be very mindful as we do it. One of the things before we start, I want to talk about joint angles. So with every joint, you have two parts to the joint angle. I'll start with my neck. It's probably the easiest to see. So when I'm stretching my neck, you notice there's a long side. So this muscle is being lengthened, whereas this one's being shortened. So this is the opening angle. So the long side is your opening angle, and the shorter side here, that's your closing angle. With every movement that you do, your restriction should come from the opening angle. So the point where this muscle cannot stretch anymore will be what limits your range of motion. If you find it's the closing angle that's restricting your motion, there's pain, there's discomfort, that is your sign to investigate further. There is something going on, okay? Keep in mind that stretch is what should limit everything. If not, we need to investigate. So feel free to reach out if you need some help figuring out exactly what may be going on, or I can help direct you to someone who can help you. So let's get things going. This is a great morning routine that you can do to start things off. We're going to do 2 rotations through everything, and once you have this series down, you can by all means even just do 1 if you're short on time, just to get through it quicker. Today we're going to go 2 just so that we can get used to everything and where we're moving. I always find the second one is a little bit better. I'll have you stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, and I want you to make a bit of a fist with your hands because we're going to engage everything as we start up here with our neck. So think about having like a 30% contraction as we start with our neck. So core is tight, arms are solid, shoulder blades down and back. Even your legs are a little bit contracted here. We're nice and solid. We're going to do a neck rotation, so I want you to bring your chin down to your chest. Draw a line with your chin along your collarbone and turn to the right. You're going to go so that your ear is behind you, and you're going to start to look behind you as you circle that neck all the way around. I'm still looking behind me here, and then I'm going to draw my chin along my collarbone, and then I'm going to reverse it and go the other way. So now towards the left, looking behind, still tight core, so nothing is moving through my torso. Draw that line. That's 1 rotation each way. We're going to do 2. So draw that line to the right, ears behind, looking behind, circle through that range, nice and slow. Draw your chin along that collarbone and repeat in that opposite direction. Last time. And finish in the center. We're going to move to our scapula. So I want you to stand in that same position. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see. We're going to draw a little square. I want you to bring those shoulders up to your ears. Okay, again, core is tight, 30% contraction here. Shift your shoulders forward, like you're putting your hands in your front pockets. Put them deeper into your pockets by dropping those shoulders. Now pull them back into your back pockets, and then you're going to bring your shoulders up. So keep them up, move them forward, drop them down, move them back, and bring them back up. So that's 2. We're going to go the opposite direction here. So now drop them down into your back pockets. Keep them down, shift those shoulders forward, bring them up, and bring them back. One more time. Down, forward, up, and back. Next up is our shoulder. So that's part of our shoulders. That's your scapula. Now we're going to get right into the shoulder. This is one, it may be easier to do one arm at a time, but we're going to do both together just to save time. So I want you to start with your hands crossed in front of each other. We're going to separate those arms as we bring those arms up overhead. As you do this, you're going to start to rotate your hands so that your pinkies are leading towards the floor. Keep rotating your hands so that your palms are now up. Okay, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades, big range. Now I'm going to reverse that. So pinkies lead, but continue to rotate so that by the time I'm coming back to the front, my palms are up and I'm going to cross those arms in front. So that's one rotation. We're going to do one more. So again, big circle. So you're trying to think big, big, big range of motion. Okay, rotate your pinkies towards the ground. Continue that rotation. My palms are now up. I'm bringing them as close as I can behind my back, and I'm going to reverse that. Lead with those pinkies. Continue to circle your arms and cross in front. When you have the time, do this one arm at a time because you can really work the range of motion better when you're doing that singly. Move to our elbows here. So I'm going to have you start with your palms facing up. Keep that core nice and tight. You're going to bend your elbows, palms facing up. Now rotate so that your palms face down. Straighten those arms. We're going to reverse it. So now we're going to keep our palms down. Rotate up. Rotate the palms. Okay, I am saying rotate the palms, but I want you to think this is one solid line. So I'm actually keeping the forearm and the palm together. So I'm not rotating at the wrist. Okay, rotating from the elbow. So think of that unit. My whole forearm actually twists to turn the palms down. Okay, and then last one, palms start down. We're going to rotate so the palms face up and lower. Last in these arms here, we've got our wrists. So I want you to start in this 90-degree position. So our core is still tight, we're still engaged. And we're going to start by gluing our elbows exactly where they are. And we're rotating at our wrist. We're going to bring our fingers together. Then we're going to reach them as far as we can apart. Okay, one more time. Together and apart. Yes, so again, nothing's moving through here. That's just at the wrist. Keep those elbows nice and still. And now I want you to drop your fingers down so palms are still up. And then you're going to go as far as you can. Point those fingers to the sky or the ceiling. Maybe you're outside. One more time. Down. Push that range. Keep the core tight. And up. Rotate your hands. So same position, but now palms face down. We're going to do the exact same thing. So palms are down. As far as you can. Palms up. Do not let your forearms move here. So just moving at the wrist. Down and up. Good. And then lastly, we're going to do some rotation. So big circles here. You got to make sure that all that's moving is at the wrist. We're going to do 2 circles. So one more. So forearms are staying absolutely still. That was 2. We're going to go the opposite direction. So often we don't take the time to work on mobility through things like our wrist. That's 2 circles there. We're spending a lot of time computering, phoning, okay? You probably felt that. It's like, whoa, okay? And it actually feels real good to make sure that you're thinking about some of these joints that we forget about. Okay, we're going to continue down the line. So we're going to move into our spine. I want you to stand, kind of get back into position, shoulder width apart, core is tight. Cross your arms over your chest. Because we're going to do some spine circles. So what I'm going to have you do here is you're going to start to lean your right shoulder down towards your right hip. And I want you to, without moving through your hips, so everything is going to stay nice and tight through your core. So nothing below those hips moves. You're going to circle your torso forward. Go nice and slow so you feel a stretch move through your back. As you get to that opposite side, so now left shoulder is towards left hip, you're going to see how it changes and you'll feel the stretch a little more on that right side. Okay, now come closer to the center and we're going to go all the way back. So don't let those hips move. We're going to start to arch behind us and continue that circle until we come back to our center, and we're going to rotate the opposite direction. So now we're bending towards our right, keeping that core tight, arching back behind, and then towards our left and center. So that was one each way. We're going to do that again. I'm going the opposite. Yes. So towards your left. Oh, nice big stretch. You might even feel a nice stretch through those abs. We're circling through. We come back to center. We're going to go the opposite direction this time. And circling all the way around. It's one of my favorites. I feel like it just helps move through that spine that we often don't move through. So from here, we're going to continue with our spine, but I do want you on the ground because we're going to move into a cat and cow position. A lot of you have done cat and cow in yoga. We're going to segment it. So before we segment it, you need to know what we're doing. So with me, we're going to do one regular cat and cow. So I want you to arch your back as much as you can. Tuck your hips underneath you so that you are making sure that everything is arched. It's not just one part of your back that arches. It's your upper back, your middle back, your lower back. And then you're going to curve it in the opposite direction. So arching that opposite way. So same thing. Trying to make sure that you're getting that arch through your upper, your middle, and your lower. This is her favorite cat and cow. All right. So come back to neutral here because now we're going to move through in a segment. To start, I want you to think of the three parts, okay? Lower, middle, and upper. So what I'm going to have you do is from here, we're going to arch just our upper back. So I'm trying to press that top part of my back up to the ceiling. Okay, everything else had stayed the same. Now I'm going to move through the middle part of my back, but I'm trying not to move the lower back yet. And now this is where I start to arch that lower back. So everything is now arched, and I'm going to reverse it in the same direction from top to bottom. So I'm going to keep that arch as I start to relax that upper back, relax the middle back, and when I say relax, go all the way into that opposite arch, and then finally release and arch down into that lower back. We're going to do the opposite direction. All right, so now I want you to keep that arch. You're going to tuck your tailbone underneath. So just move the lower back. Now we're going to move just the middle back. Upper back still has that arch. The opposite direction. And then finally, upper back moves as well. We'll release it in the same way. So release the lower back first. Then release that upper into that arch. I said upper, but I meant middle because now we're doing the upper. So that's one each direction. So of course we're going to do it again, starting from the top. So we're in that arched position here. We're going to make a big curve. So start with your upper back, and then you move to your middle back, and finally lower back. Holding this here, start from the top, release the upper, release the middle, and then the lower. We're going to start from the bottom up. So keep that arch here as we curve the lower back, curve just the middle back, and then the upper back. Releasing from the bottom up. So we release the lower back, the middle back. Make sure you're sinking down into that big arch, and then your upper back. Excellent. The more time you spend doing this, the better you're going to get at segmenting it. And eventually, there are many people that can segment one vertebrae at a time. So it's like 12 tiny little movements in there. That takes a lot of practice, but if you can have that kind of control through your spine, you are going to bullet-proof your spine and decrease the risks of a lot of potential injuries that people end up just getting from day-to-day life. But let's move on. So we move through our spine. We're going to get those hips. We're going to do our hip circles. We have done this a million times. I highly suggest, actually I want you to hold on to something. That's going to help keep you square so that you're not sacrificing your body position, because again, we got that 30% contraction, so core is tight, supporting leg is tight, and we're going to actually start this time with our leg crossed in front, just so we get a bigger circle. So from here, you're going to drive that knee up, okay, as that foot is crossed in front. I want you then to take that shin, and you're going to rotate it so that you're trying to get your ankle up in line with your knee. I'm really tight today, so it's not happening. And then I'm going to continue that circle behind me and bring that foot all the way down just to tap the ground. And then I'm going to reverse it here. So start with that knee, drive your knee. We're going to hold this position as we let that shin come across and then continue that circle so we're crossing that leg in front, so full rotation. So that's one on the right. We're going to do that again. Hip comes up. Keep your hips stable because you're working rotation here. The rotation is actually happening at the hip. Now, we're going to lead with that heel as we open up towards the back. Tap that down. Come back leading with your knee. Rotate your shin towards the ground and even past, rotating and then closing that circle. Move over to the left side. So again, still holding on. I want you to do the same thing. So we're going to cross that leg in front. So we're going full range of motion. We drive that knee up. Okay, holding the hip where it is, but rotating right at that hip joint to get that knee, to keep that knee in position. You notice how my ankle moved out. Continue that circle around and tap your foot down. Now we reverse it. So we're going to come up leading with that knee. Okay, from here, holding this knee where it is, we're rotating at the hip to bring that ankle across and finish that circle. One last time. It's up. Rotating in at that hip. Continue your circle behind you. Core is still tight. Last one. Come up. Rotating at that hip, bringing your ankle in and across. Whew. Move down to the ground here. So we're going to move into our knees. And this one you can do standing, but it's easy to cheat when you're standing. So I'm going to have you support your right leg with your arm. I like to actually support my full thigh by grabbing that leg with my forearm here. Why I'm going to do that is because then I'm going to get a true knee rotation. It is hard to rotate it. We're not going to make circles at your knee. That's similar to the elbows. Okay, I want you to actually start with your toe pointing out. And you're going to straighten that leg. And then you're going to point your toe in and bend your leg. Okay, of course, I'm a little bit flexible here, so you can do it lower to the ground. We're going to do the opposite now, so have that toe pointing in, straighten your knee. You're going to rotate, so toes point out. Why I'm holding that leg is because nothing's moving through my thigh. Okay, that rotation is coming right from my knee, which is why sometimes I like to hold it in close to make sure that this is solid and I'm just moving through that knee. So that's one each way. We'll do it again. Toe out, extend that leg, toes in, bend that knee. Same thing in reverse. Toes out. Sorry, toes are in. Then you rotate them out and bend that knee back in. Switch to your left. So we're supporting that left thigh. Start with the toes out. Straighten your knee. Rotate the toes pointing in and bend that knee back in. Repeat on the opposite direction. So toes are in, toes are pointing in. Rotate so your toes point out. Bend that knee back in. One more time. So out on the way out. Toes in on the way in. And we're going to keep the toes in as we go out. And rotate the toes out. And then bring that knee in. We're going to move all the way down to our ankles. So I also like to support my thigh on this one too, because it is sort of easy to share the love with this one. So what I'm going to have you do here is we're just going to do big ankle circles. I'm supporting my thigh. I like to sometimes even hold my shin so that it's a little bit more of that true ankle circle. We're just going to do two big circles, and then I want you to go the other way. One, as big as you can through that ankle, and two. You can explore a lot of things through these ankles, up, down, side to side. We're just going to do those two rotations today, so now grab your left. You can support that shin. Two big ankle circles each way. Find any tight spots and really focus on where you're moving as we go through. The last part, or the last joint that I'm going to have you worry about here are these toes. So come back up to your feet, and what I'm going to challenge you to do is you're going to spread your toes out. So sort of like you're doing this with your toes, okay? So toes are as spread out as they can be, and then you're going to bring your toes together. Now, here's the tough thing. I'm literally doing this, so toes out and toes in. So I don't want you to scrunch your toes. You're just bringing them side by side. They're becoming friends. They're going to spread out. They're going to be friends. Then we're going to try to move only our big toe. So for some people, you might be able to do this without help. For a lot of people, if this is new for you, hold all your little toes down, and then you can lift that big toe up, bring it down. One more time. Lift it up, bring it down. Challenge yourself to see if you can do that without holding. And then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to keep our big toe down. So this is one that I can do. I can lift all my toes but my big. If you can't, press down on your big toe. Lift all your little toes. Lower them. Lift and lower. All of these movements that we have done today help bring that awareness. So even things like those toes, you're going to have better control. The more you practice, the more you build that brain-muscle connection, the more you're going to find you can move things the way you want with a greater range of motion. So cars are an excellent way to start your day. This was 2 rotations. It took us 20 minutes, and you know I did talk a lot. You can follow this video, but you could probably do it a little bit quicker on your own. And like I said, if you're pressed for time and you did 1 rotation through your entire body, you're going to probably finish that in maybe as little as 5 minutes, but definitely less than 10. So this is not something that takes a long time, but it is something that's going to give you huge, huge benefits. So don't forget to start your day with some cars, and let me know if you tried it and what you thought and how your body feels. Have an awesome week, ladies. I will see you on the internet. Take care.